It's the end of the world as we know it. Again. In the last few weeks, the tabloids and conspiracy theorists have been busy with yet another dire prediction that Nibiru, aka Planet X or Planet 9, will trigger earthquakes, floods, and generally the end of the world. This time it was meant to be on November the 19th, but as you can see, we're all still here. The problem here is that Planet X, Planet 9 and Nibiru are often used to describe the same phenomena of the thoroughly debunked theory first put forward by Nancy Leader in 1995, that a planet-sized object which she called Planet X and about 4 times the size of the Earth on a highly elliptical orbit would pass close by to the Earth in 2003 and its gravitational effects would effectively destroy the Earth. This theory has been respun to try and fit the end of the last cycle in the Mayan calendar in 2012 and more recently to biblical passages, with its effects said to occur on the 23rd of September 2017 and then November the 19th, 2017. The mysterious Nibiru, which has never been seen by any serious astronomers, NASA or ESA, let alone had its orbit plotted, has also mutated from a physics-defying planet to now a brown dwarf just beyond the edge of our solar system. Again, nothing has ever been seen, and more importantly, no gravitational effects noted that match its description. If it were to be that close to the Earth, we would all see it in the sky and not in some dodgy photographic anomalies or 30-year-old satellite data. But the term Planet X is a real one and was first used by the astronomer Percival Lowell in 1906 to describe what was thought to be a missing planet, which was causing irregularities seen in the orbits of Uranus and Neptune. Lowell proposed that the missing planet would be about 7 times the mass of the Earth and about 43 AU or 6.4 billion kilometers from the Sun. Although Lowell searched in vain till his death in 1916, he never found his Planet X. The search for the missing planet resumed in 1929 when 22-year-old Clyde Tombaugh joined the Lowell Observatory. Tombaugh's job was to photograph sections of the night sky, taking 2 images of the same area 2 weeks apart, and then using a blink comparator he was able to see if there was any difference between them. This would show up any object, such as a planet, as a moving object against the star background. After looking at about 2 million stars over 1.5 years, Tombaugh saw a moving object not far from the location where Lowell had predicted it should be. This new planet was called Pluto, and the search for Planet X was over, or so they thought. Barely a month had passed since Pluto was discovered when further observations cast doubt on Pluto being Planet X. Firstly, there was no visible disk that would have been expected when looking at a planet. Secondly, it was very dark. It was more like a distant star than a planet, something that was rather strange for an object that should be large enough to affect the orbits of Uranus and Neptune. This meant that it was either the darkest planet yet discovered, or it was very small. And thirdly, it had an elliptical orbit slightly inclined against the solar plane, much more like that of a comet or an asteroid. Over the next almost 50 years, further observations and calculations downgraded Pluto's mass from 7 times that of the Earth, which Lowell had assumed, to around 0.1 times that of the Earth. Then in 1978, the astronomer James W. Christie observed Pluto's moon, Charon. By measuring Charon's orbit around Pluto, it was possible to accurately work out that Pluto was about 1/500th the mass of the Earth, far too small to be Planet X. When Voyager 2 visited Neptune in 1989, the measurements it sent back showed that Neptune was smaller in mass than was first thought. When JPL reran the ephemeris calculations on the orbits of Uranus and Neptune with the new data, the earlier discrepancies disappeared, along with the need for a Planet X to account for them. Even just after Pluto's discovery in the 1930s, there were calls from some astronomers that it should not be called a planet, it was just too small. And in 2006, it was officially downgraded to a dwarf planet. By 2014, there had been 6 other objects of similar size to Pluto found in the Kuiper Belt, the ring of mostly frozen debris left over from a formation of the solar system. It was the discovery that some of these large bodies, known as TNOs or trans-Neptunian objects, had rather strange orbits. When looked at as a whole, nearly all of them had their orbits clustered in one direction rather than being spread out as would be expected. By 2016, 7 more TNOs had been discovered, again with most of them having similarly offset orbits. But that's not the only odd thing in the solar system. In fact, there were several more unexplained peculiarities. The first of these is obviously the orbit clustering of the TNOs. Then there was the fact that the orbits of these and some other objects were out of the plane of the solar system by some way, and some were even orbiting in the opposite direction to the rest of the planets. Also, it's an odd fact that the plane of all the major planets is tilted about 6 degrees from the equator of the Sun, when you would expect it to be the same. But if we put a new, large but as yet undiscovered planet into the computer models, these peculiarities can be explained quite easily. Astronomers have nicknamed it Planet 9 and say that it will have a mass of around 10 times that of the Earth and be about 4 times larger. It would be on a very large elliptical orbit out of the plane of the solar system, taking about 20,000 years to complete one orbit. This would also explain why we haven't yet found it. We've been looking in the wrong place. And it could be up to 1200 AU or 180 billion kilometers away at its furthest distance. Its computer simulated orbit would bring it into about 200 AU or 30 billion kilometers at its closest approach, still well out from the orbit of Neptune and a very, very, very long way from the inner solar system and Earth. We've also recently been able to detect solar systems around other stars, and the most common exoplanets found are ones which match the size and mass of the missing Planet 9, making our solar system look rather odd, as we don't appear to have one. Theories are that the missing Planet 9 is most likely to be an ice giant, similar to Neptune, that was thrown out of the solar system's plane by Jupiter or Saturn. Or it could possibly be a planet captured from another star in the Sun's birth cluster shortly after the formation of the solar system. Until it is visually confirmed, these will remain just theories, but it would plug a lot of holes in our current understanding of the solar system and reinstate a new planet into Pluto's place. It also unfortunately gives plenty of ideas to the Nibiru believers to conflate these pieces of information and come up with more wacko end-of-the-world theories. So, the quicker it is found, the better it will be for all of us. So, thanks for watching, and I'd just like to say that this episode's shirt was the Orange Tribal Trip by Madcap England and is available from atomretro.com with worldwide shipping from here in the UK. Don't forget, we also have the Curious Droid Facebook page, and I'd also like to thank all of our patrons for their ongoing support. And if you're interested in becoming a patron, then please click on the link now showing. So again, thanks for watching, and please subscribe, rate, and share.